Welcome to Whippoorwill Holler. I'm Miss Lori and this is Mr. Brown. We live in the hills of Arkansas. We love the Lord. Keepers of the old way, but accept some of the new. We love to cook and we love to eat. We love to garden. It's in our blood. It's how we stay sustainable and fill our pantry. We do a lot of canning and preserving. We live a sustainable life. We love our family. We work hard. And every once in a while, we like to dance. So y'all join us. First thing I want to do after starting coffee is I started making my bread for the week. And this is just my usual recipe for my rich white bread. I've done this recipe many times on videos, but I will go ahead and leave the recipe down in the description box below the video. But if you look back at my playlist for breads or different videos, in fact here recently I just done a video making this same loaf of bread. But we're out of bread, so I need to make a loaf, and I need to get it started and get it rising. I think I'll make one loaf of bread, and I think I'm going to make a few hoagies to make sandwiches with. I need to get some laundry started. I'm just using my homemade laundry detergent. Y'all seen me in the past make my homemade laundry detergent. I'll put the links down below. I'm going to put me just a little bit of lavender essential oil in here just to make it smell good, because I am washing towels and rags. Also, because we use our rags and towels to clean parts of our bodies that's not too clean, I go ahead and put a bit of this Lysol sanitizer in there too with some of my rags and towels. It does a good job sanitizing. Vinegar is a good cleaner, but it doesn't sanitize. I do use vinegar in some of my, when I do some of my laundry. It's such a beautiful day today. The air is crisp. The sun is shining straight through all these trees. 'Cause y'all know we live in the woods. Such a beautiful day. And you know it's days like this that hanging out towels or clothes on the line, it's just not a chore. I just love doing it. It gets me outside. I've never ever not liked hanging clothes out. And of course Hank, he is so full of energy. He wants to be in anything that I'm doing, that's for sure. And if you don't watch him, he'll take off with one of my towels. He's so funny. He loves to play and run. And you have to watch him. He's a good dog. He's got lots of energy, y'all. He's a bird dog. He's a golden retriever. He loves to retrieve and he loves to run, and he's just very active. You know, I could probably spend money, and Danny could probably put me in a better clothesline. But this one does the job. It reminds me of my grandma. For many and many years, her clothesline, it only hung between two trees. She hung her clothes out every day on that clothesline. She had a dryer, but I can tell you, I don't remember her ever turning that dryer on for any reason. So I think after I get these clothes hung up, I need to get out in the garden, and I need to plant some garlic and get that done. My broom corn back there in them 2 troughs is trying to come back, y'all. After I harvested it, it's trying to come back. But I don't know if it's going to make it or not before cold weather really sets in. What do y'all think? Do y'all think it'll get on up there and make broom corn again? Your bone meal is full of your natural source of nitrogen, phosphorus, and calcium. So I want to go ahead and mend my soil and plant my garlic in there, because in the spring, you know, even this winter when it goes dormant, it still needs all that in there. So this spring or next spring, when it's time for them to start, you know, coming on up and doing their thing, they've got a little bit to go on. And then I can come down through, you know, inside fertilize them. I can't go underneath them or, you know, dig them up and refertilize them. So I want to get a head start on it and just go ahead and just give it a little bit of help. Now I'm going to be planting these about 2 inches deep. You know what? That one ain't no good. Always check. You see how this one, I could feel it when I was planting it, and it was real mushy. So you can see the inside of that garlic is no good. It smells good, but it's no good. So don't try to plant that. So I'm planting them about 2 inches deep. I don't really do it as, you know, I don't space them as far as what a lot of people say to. I never have. Because you know, most of the time I just didn't have the space to be spacing them out like that. So I'm just spacing them out probably about 6 inches apart. 2 inches deep. And I'll just continue to do that till I get them all planted. Now I'm just going to take some bits and pieces of row crop cover that I've got. And sometimes what I use is untreated burlap. But I've got that, using it for something else right now. You can see I've got some beets coming up and I just can't hurry. They're not ready. I don't want to pull them up. I just can't hardly do it. So I'm just going to cover this up. And if it snows or rain, it goes right through this row crop cover. I hope we do get, you know, normal amount of snow this winter, because we need that nitrogen for our soil and our ground from that snow. And like I said, this is just bits and pieces that I had. Some of it's tore up. I've had it for a while. But I'm just going to kind of like put it to bed. Let it go dormant. And then next spring, as time goes on, we'll see our little we'll see our garlic starting to grow and pop up through the soil. So that's how I'm doing this bed this year. Just like that. Like I said, any rainfall, any snow is going to go right through that. So, anyways, we'll see what happens next spring. We'll let Miss Adele watch over the garden this winter. Might need to put a jacket on her, though. What do you think? Okay, our bread is done, or our dough is done proofing. It's been about just a little over an hour. And I'm just going to make one loaf. And then I'm going to make some hoagies. So I'm just going to cut this in half. Now, I like to roll my dough out, my bread dough out. And the reason I like to do that, it's not necessary. I like to do it, and it just helps to get the bubbles out, because I do not like holes in my sandwich bread. If you like holes in your sandwich bread, it's fine. But this just helps to get them worked out. And once you get it rolled out, if you still have some little bubbles around the edge, you just kind of pinch them with your fingers and pop them. But this is really just a really good bread recipe. And like I said, I'll put it down in the description box, even though I've made it several times in videos. It makes it just a really good, rich sandwich bread. And buns. We're just going to put it in our pan, roll it around some of this olive oil. Get it coated real good. And there's our bread. Our bread loaf. Okay, I'm just going to take the other half of the dough and not going to mess with it much. And I'm going to cut it in about 4 pieces to make about 4 hoagies. And how I'll use these hoagies, I'll try to cut them and get them as equal as I can, is I can make, hoagie sandwiches out of it, hot ham and cheese sandwiches, or I can take them, instead of splitting them in half, I can split them down the top and put kielbasa with onions and bell peppers on them, kind of like a big hot dog bun. So it'll be good that way too. And I don't need more than 4, because that'd be, 2 hoagie sandwiches and two hot dogs. I say hot dogs, but we love kielbasa with the onions and peppers on it, on a bun like that. I don't get too technical with it. It don't have to be perfect. And they always turn out. So all we're going to do is cover these up. I'm going to put them in my oven. I've got the light on in my oven. It's warm in there. It's warmer than it is out here in this kitchen. And let them rise for probably about 30 to 40 minutes. I'm going to fix this one just a little bit. You just want them to rise about double again. And I'll preheat my oven to about 375, 400 degrees. And they'll bake for about 20 minutes. So there we go. Let's cover them up and let them rise another 30, 40 minutes. Well, I have got to get some breakfast cooked for Mr. Brown. I've been busy all this morning, and I know he's getting hungry. And I've got some wonderful golden delicious apples here. I'm going to put a little bit of sugar. This right here is a little bit of cinnamon and sugar mixed up together. I'm going to put some butter in here, and we're going to fry these apples up. We're going to fry these apples up and put them over some hot biscuits. What do y'all think? I think y'all seen me do this before. And I've got an apple in here that I didn't get cut up very good. I'm going to have to get my knife back out and get that cut up. Okay, here's our breakfast. Fried apples on hot biscuits with a couple pieces of sausage. It is so good, y'all. Them fried apples on them hot biscuits with butter. Okay, y'all. My bread's done. We're going to turn it out. Let it cool off a little bit. And that is our sandwich bread for the week. Now, we did have a frost this morning. And last night I covered some of my plants up that just really worried me that would get frostbite. Now this right here are this is still my green peppers. This is my Italian green peppers that they have really been producing so good. And right now I bet there's 50 little bell peppers on there, and I know they're not going to make it. So I guess I'm just trying hard to see how big they'll get before the frost gets them. But I just kept them covered last night just to try to prolong the growing situation here. And these are just row crop covers. They do insulate. I use them every winter because I do plant cold crop plants. And I use these and keep everything covered up and keeps everything growing that will continue to grow in cold weather, like your cabbages and your broccolis and your greens and stuff like that. But I'm using them right now just to prolong some of this. I've got even roses that are blooming and zinnias back here that are trying to bloom. In this bed back here that's got Swiss chard and broccoli. It's got some parsnips in it. And I just can't believe the zinnias are trying to come back and bloom. But they're just not giving up. I tell you, zinnias are some of the toughest flowers. And they're some of my favorite too. My favorite cut flowers. In this bed right here, this is where I've got some cabbage and some broccoli that's I'm hoping that's going to give me just a little bit more fresh produce this winter. I fertilized them day before yesterday with some fish fertilizer, and that'll be the last time I fertilize them probably this winter, and hopefully they'll produce. So I'm just not ready to give up my garden yet, I guess. I've even got gourds trying to grow again. My birdhouse gourds come back and are trying to grow again. I just can't believe it. I want y'all to look to see how the trees are turning. Starting to turn orange and yellow. It's getting really pretty out here in the woods. Does anybody else besides me love old galvanized watering cans? I do. I collect them. I do. I love them. I just think they have a lot of character and pretty tough watering cans. This is where I grew a bunch of strawberries. They produced in that old chicken feeder pretty good too. And I can't believe it, but my sweet potato vine came back. And my lantanas came back too. Every bit of this in this wagon had died this summer. We just went through such a hot drought this summer, and everything just just died and turned brown. But as soon as September got here, or the end of September, I think, look at him. Isn't he pretty, just standing there in the sunlight? Hank is such a pretty dog. But everything just kind of come back and just greened up and acted like it was just going to all come back to life. I couldn't believe it. So I'm going to enjoy as much as I can get out of it still, and enjoy all the green out here before it all turns brown again. So I'm just really back out here in the garden again and trying to enjoy it before it gets too cold. That's for sure. We'll go in here and see what's going on in the greenhouse. There's not a whole lot going on, but I do have a few things going on in here. I put some of my plants and flowers in here. Down there on the floor, I've got a stack of my hibiscus plants that I've done harvested, and I've got to harvest. I have to get the leaves and the flower pods off there, and I need to dry them to make some hibiscus tea, because hibiscus plants are very, very good for you. And of course my gourds I've got in here, I want them to dry and to cure for a while. This is my granny chair here. And this is my mother-in-law's old sink that was in the old farmhouse. Now it's in my greenhouse. When we first built the cabin, I used this old sink in my kitchen. But now it's in here in the greenhouse. And I want you to look what I've done on this one side. I put some compost in here, and I planted a bunch of lettuce seeds in here. So we'll see if the lettuce comes up, and we'll have some lettuce throughout the winter. But I just love this old sink. Some of these plants I'll end up having to take in the house, because they won't survive once it gets around freezing or below. And this is the pods and the leaves I'm talking about off the hibiscus that I've got to get off here and get them dried to make teas out of. I could come out here and do a lot of work out in this greenhouse. It needs to be cleaned up and sorted out. Things thrown away so bad. Maybe I'll get to it soon. But it's still my little place to come to. It's kind of like my little refuge out here on the place. And that's where my sun oven stays, out here too. I haven't used it in a while. I haven't needed it. But if I ever need it, I've got it. See how everything just looks like it's just trying to green up again so good. Of course, the big garden out there is done. There's nothing out there anymore. Look at that beautiful sunshine down there at the pond. So yeah, the big garden is just going to kind of hang out this winter. I've got my little pond in here that y'all have seen in the past. I've got a little frog that lives in there, and every once in a while you'll see him jump either out of the water or in the water. Got my lavender and different herbs in here. And you see how some of the zinnias are trying to come back in here too. Okay, I harvested some of my herbs. And this is my rosemary, and I ended up with cutting the tops out of some of my lavender that had bloomed. And we've got some tarragon, we've got some lemon thyme, we've got some chives, and I had harvested a bunch of green tomatoes and bell peppers and jalapenos. This will be my last harvest probably. I've got my burdock, and this is stevia. I grew some stevia, and the leaves on the stevia is sweet as sugar, I'm telling you. Some really good stuff. If you've never grown it before, it's really sweet. It's a stevia plant. So anyways, I'm going to get this all these herbs tied up in a bundle, and then I'll hang them just like I do all my herbs and stuff, and let them dry before I put them up. And I can't wait to get the wood cook stove fired up. You know, this ham, it's one of the juiciest. It's just a good sweet southern ham. It's juicy, and it just helps us so much when we can use a slow cooker for our hams, our turkey breasts, our turkeys, or whatever. And it just frees up the oven for us. We ain't got, there's so much going on, you know, so much cooking. So I guess my first crock pot, no, it's probably many years after that I even tried to cook a ham in my slow cooker or crock pot. And the first time I did, I thought, this is such a game changer. Now I have to tell you, to me there's nothing any better than a bone-in ham wrapped up, just nothing even on it, and just stuck in a roaster, an old roaster pan, and either stuck in my wood cook stove or in the oven. I mean, they just turn out so good. But these do too. And like I said, they're juicy, and it just gives you that extra helping hand during Thanksgiving or Christmas when you need it. And all it's going to take is a cup of apple cider vinegar. Now, if you don't have apple cider, not apple cider vinegar, eek, let's cut that off. Apple cider. This was a cup of apple cider, y'all. But if you don't have apple cider, what I was going to say is you can use apple juice if you want to. So that's a cup of apple cider and 1/4 a cup of water. We're going to put in about 2/3 cup of brown sugar. You can use light, you can use dark, whichever you want. And you know, this is a fully cooked bone-in smoked ham. It's about a 5.5 pound ham. And it's just hard to find one that will fit, especially this kind of slow cooker. If you got a bigger slow cooker to fit down in it, but I'm going to show you how I'm going to fix that, because I've had to do this before. And I either use aluminum foil, which I don't have, or I'll just cover with, I'll use a different lid is what I'll do. So 2/3 cup of brown sugar. I need 1/4 a cup of some good runny honey. And this is some really good honey right here, y'all. And then I need, let's see how much, I need 1/4 a cup of Dijon mustard. And we're just gonna mix this up good. And that's all you need. Now, you cook this on high for about 4 hours. I like to cook it for 6 hours on low. To me, it's just, it gets really more, you know, tender. I mean, either way, it's good, but. So I will put this down in my information below my video. But it's a really easy, good ham. And you just pour it over the top. And, you know, if I'm here during, you know, while it's cooking, I'll come by every once in a while. I'll take some of the juices and kind of baste over the top, just like you would if it was in the oven, you know. So, now, I like to put just a little bit of sprigs of some fresh thyme out of the garden, and let me go out on the porch and just get me a few sprigs. Okay, I went out there, you know, day for yesterday, I harvested just about all of my uh, herbs because we're getting down to around freezing and frost warning. So, but anyways, I did get me some fresh. I've got some of my thyme and all my herbs hanging over here drying, but I thought I'd just get me some. And all I'm going to do is just kind of pinch it off and put it around, and you don't have to have it, and you don't even have to put any thyme. It's just that little extra goodness. So I'm going to cover this up, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to have to do this since it's I'm using the lid off of my vintage grandma roasting pan, which is the one that I would usually use to cook my ham in. And like I said, you can use aluminum foil. I don't have any, but I'm just going to use parchment paper. And I'm going to put this over it because it fits just like that. It'll be just fine. It's going to cook just as well. So you just do what you have to do to make things work. So I'm going to put this on low for 6 hours, and we'll see how it turns out later. Okay, our ham has been done for a little while. It's sitting on warm right now. You can see all them juices down there in the bottom. The ham looks beautiful. Mr. Brown's out on the porch blowing his duck call, if you hear it. But what I like to do is once this is done, I don't know about y'all, but I like the rind on the ham to be kind of blackened, kind of crunchy. And that's just me. Now this is just something I do. You don't have to, but I'm going to take it out, put it on my sheet pan, put it under the broiler for just a little bit. I'm going to strain my juice here. And what's left, I'm going to put in a little pot. I'm going to cook it down about, about halfway. And just let it cook down a little bit. And then you can cut your ham up and then pour that good old juices over it. Okay, I strained some of the some of the goopy stuff out and put it in my little pot here. And we're just going to let this boil and let it condense down to about half. Okay, I started cutting on my ham, and I thought, I ain't even recording this. So anyways, my ham is done. I got it out of the oven because I just kind of put it on the broiler for a little bit. And I've got it turned to where I'm kind of, this is the way I like to start cutting on it. And I'm using Mr. Brown's electric knife here. Now, most of the time, he'd cut this ham for me, but I'm just going to cut it and cut it pretty thin. But I'm going to cut this ham up, slice it up good, and I can tell you that I will probably end up freezing all this ham. I'm going to put it in my vacuum seal bags to vacuum and let it seal really well. And I'm going to put it in the freezer till Thanksgiving. And all I'll have to do, here it is just bring it back out and stick it back in the slow cooker on warm or on low and just let it heat up, or I can wrap it up and I can put it in the oven and warm it up. This is the ham bone that I'm going to wrap up for beans. And like I said, this was about 5.5 pound ham. And I may end up having to cook another ham. I don't think I'm going to. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a stuffed pork loin. If y'all would like to see that recipe, let me know in the comment, because it is a very good recipe and it always goes over really good at Thanksgiving. For something a little bit different, especially if you got a lot of people that don't care for turkey. So I'll be doing that. So this should be plenty of ham. We'll have chicken and dressing, and then we'll have the stuffed pork loin too. How about to finish off this video, let's make something to go with that ham. Of course, I'm making this, you know, today. So me and Mr. Brown eat it today and not at Thanksgiving. But this is a good side dish for Thanksgiving or any holiday, really. And it's your old-fashioned squash casserole. And I can remember Danny's mom making it, and I have made it off and on for me and Danny. My kids never, it just wasn't something my kids really enjoyed, or my grandkids. But you can do so much with squash casserole too. You can add some kind of meat to it, like sausage or chicken or something like that, and make it a full meal. But I'm just going to do half a recipe today, but I'll put the full recipe down in my information box below the video, where I put my recipes. I'll put the full recipe, and if you don't want the full, you can just half it like I did. But I've just got a little bit of bacon grease in my pan here, and I'm going to saute. I had about 3 squash is what I had. They were just probably, one of them was a medium size and the other 2 were kind of at the small size. But I also have squash that I froze too. I know a lot of y'all freeze your squash, and so you can use it, your frozen squash. All you have to do is bring it out, and you've already, like I do, you probably parboiled it just a little bit before you blanched it before you froze it. Sometimes I don't even do that, especially if I'm putting it up for frying. But anyways, I'm going to saute about 3 squash and some bacon grease, but you can do it in olive oil if you want to. And I'm going to cut up a piece of onion here that I had. Probably need about half an onion, medium onion for what I'm doing. But if you're doing the full recipe, you're going to need a whole onion chopped up. Now, if you don't want to saute your squash and your onion, you can boil it if you want to, if you'd rather do that. It's just up to you. It's such an easy recipe, and I have always, all through the years, enjoyed the old-fashioned squash casserole recipe. I think it's just one of them comfort casseroles that, you know, that your parents or grandparents, you know, they grew all that squash in the garden over the summer, and so at harvest time, you know, they put it all up, and then when it come around the holidays, they cook it up some way or fashion. And the squash casserole is one of them. Now, this squash casserole does not have anything like cream of mushroom or cream of chicken soup or nothing like that in it. It is going to have a little bit of sour cream and a little bit of mayonnaise in it. It also calls for your topping to be Ritz crackers. I don't have any. I don't really keep Ritz crackers unless it's during some kind of holiday or something special that I need them for. But I'm just going to saute this, the onions and the yellow squash. You can do this with zucchini too, until it's, you know, tender. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of salt and pepper on my squash. And I can tell you, once this gets sauteed up, I could eat this just like this. A little bit of salt. So I'm just going to let this cook down a little bit, let it get tender, and then we'll be back, and I'll have to let this cool off a little bit after it's sauteed, and then we'll get it mixed up and in the oven. And it, you know, you can throw this together pretty quick. So if you need something to do with some of your leftover squash, something that's been around for so many years, it always goes over good at potlucks and holidays. Squash casserole is one of them. I like using stuff that's come out of my garden and out of my pantry. You don't need to stress over the holidays by going and spending so much money on groceries. We all know groceries are high. And, you know, groceries have been going up for many and many and many years. Each year they just keep getting higher and higher. It ain't something new. Groceries have always been going up. And that's why you have to go back to the old ways and learn how you can stock your pantry, how you can afford to. A lot of people cannot afford just to jump on the bandwagon and go spend hundreds of dollars stocking their pantry. And over the years, I've showed y'all how you can do that, because I never could do it. Me and Danny never had money to go do that stuff. I had to do it over the years. You know, just kind of a little bit here and a little bit there. And now that it's just me and Danny mainly now, you know, I don't need all that. We don't need all that to keep our body sustained, and, you know, it only takes so much. But anyways, so you got squash out here and probably onions out of your garden. Maybe you got a little bit of sour cream mayonnaise, some crackers, whatever. You're going to make your really good squash casserole. Okay, let's finish up our squash casserole. Now I failed to mention it a while ago, but this is Cracker Barrel's. It's their recipe, or it's their older recipe. They may have changed it by now, but it's their recipe for squash casserole. Anyways, I've got my sauteed squash and onions in here, and you need to let them cool down just a little bit. If there's any kind of liquid still, especially if you boiled your squash instead of sauteing it from the, you know, fresh squash, you do need to drain it. But I like to saute it. I think it gives that squash a better flavor, especially if you do it in butter or bacon grease like I did, and just kind of brown it up, plus tenderize it. I mean, even the onions get caramelized a little bit, so I just think it makes it taste a little bit better than just boiling your squash. But that's totally up to you. So that's what we got in here. Since I'm making only half a recipe, and this will serve about, and I'm using a 8x8, I'm pretty sure it's either 8x8 or 9x9, I can't remember. It's one or the other though. And I just sprayed it with some olive oil, and that's what I'm going to be making it in. So we got our squash and onion here. I'm going to put about 5 ounces of sour cream. I'm just going to guess at it, y'all. 5 ounces. And let's see, I need 1 beaten egg. And let me run and get my mayonnaise, because I don't like taking my mayonnaise out of the refrigerator ahead of time anyways. And I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise. And then however much cheese you like. This is about probably a cup. And you can put any kind of cheese. This is just mild cheddar cheese, all it is. But you put what you think you might. I think Danny would probably like pepper jack cheese or something like that, because he loves pepper jack cheese. So you just put in what you want. And we're just going to mix this all up together. Now, if you look at your casserole and it looks runny, it's because you didn't drain your squash very good. Now, usually all squash casseroles call for your Ritz crackers. Like I said, I don't keep any on hand unless it's a special occasion, but I always do have saltines. You can also use panko breadcrumbs or regular breadcrumbs, whichever you like. I've got my oven heated to 350. We're just going to put our filling in here. Our casserole. And like I said, you can make a meal out of this by adding, you know, some kind of meat to it. Chicken, sausage, just anything like that. And just kind of spread it out. Now, I usually put a little bit of pepper in there too. I'm not going to put any more salt because I'm using saltines, and I salted my squash earlier. Just a little bit of, you put a little bit of paprika on that if you want to. So, this is going to go in the oven, 350 oven, for about 20 minutes or till it's good and bubbly. And then we're going to take it out. We'll mix our crackers, crumbs up with some butter, and then we'll sprinkle that on top and then stick it back in the oven for another 15 minutes. Okay, our casserole's been in the oven for about 20 minutes. It's good and bubbly. Looks good, smells wonderful. So I've got a half a cup of melted butter here, and I've got a whole sleeve of crackers. I'm just using my saltine crackers. There's lots of choices you can do. You can even use crushed up cornflakes, chips if you got some chips. If you don't have the Ritz crackers like I don't. But I usually always keep saltines in the pantry. And sometimes I even make my own crackers. But you want to get this mixed up good with that butter. And then you're going to sprinkle the top of your casserole with it. If you're using a Ritz crackers, it gives it a little sweeter taste too. And I usually have panko breadcrumbs, but I don't have any right now. Because I can tell y'all the truth, I've been using what's in my pantry. I'm just not going and trying to just bulk up my pantry again, because you get to the point you got too much, and that's just the truth, y'all. I've been doing pantry, since I was a young married wife. And you only need your necessities. You don't need it to look like Walmart. And I think that's what scares a lot of people, is because they know they can't afford all that. You don't have to have all that to have your pantry stocked. Okay. So just kind of put that on there and press it down a little bit. And this is going to give it a really buttery crumb on top. If y'all never had Cracker Barrel's squash casserole, it's really good, y'all. Really good. And it's just like it's the same recipe my grandma and Danny's mom always used too. Same recipe. Okay, I'm going to stick this back in the 350 oven for 15 minutes, and we'll let it cool off enough where I can taste it. Okay, here is our squash casserole. I like to, if 15 minutes ain't enough, then put it another 5 minutes. I like mine to be really golden on top and around the edges to be kind of brown. So it actually took 20 minutes instead of 15 after I put it in the second time. But anyways, that's just up to you. But it looks good and it smells good. So we're going to taste it. Ooh, it's got that brown around the edge. That's what I like. This right here, let's see. This amount that I made, you know, for me, Mr. Brown, it'd be probably 2 meals. And I'm going to say you could feed anywhere from, just depends on who you're feeding, 4 to 5 people with this. Maybe even 6. Just depends on how much they like it. And you know this is going to be hot, don't you? But I'm going to taste it. It smells so good. I can smell them onions. I can smell the sour cream and the crackers and everything. But I know it's going to be so hot, y'all. I'm fixing to make another casserole too for our supper, so we're just really going to dig out on casseroles today. And what's good is tomorrow we'll have it all for leftovers. It has a lot of taste to it, but it doesn't have so much that you don't taste your squash. And that's what, you know, if I'm going to be making a squash casserole, I want to taste the squash. I don't want to taste, you know, something else. I mean, that's why it's called squash casserole. Really, really good. Now, if you wanted to, you could add some different seasonings to it, like a little bit of garlic or something like that. But to me, your old-fashioned recipes, you just can't hardly beat them. They're so good, so simple, and they're just so comforting too. So good. So anyways, I appreciate y'all being with me and staying with me today. Here in my kitchen, here on my homestead, just things that I've done today that I'm sharing with y'all. I just want y'all to know that my home, I mean, it's a place of refuge for me and my family. And I want you to know that it's a place for y'all too. There's so much going on in this world. It always has been since the beginning of time. There's always been trials and tribulations. There's always been that wolf at the door. But he gives us that ability to make the right choices. You have to have your faith in him. He'll never forsake you. So wherever you are and whatever you're doing today, just know that you are so loved. We'll see y'all in a few days. Probably be cooking up some more recipes, getting ready for them holidays. I'll be putting the recipes down in the description box below the video. You just go below the video and click the word more, or to the side, whatever you're watching me on. If you're watching me on TV, you'll have to go to either your phone or your tablet or something to get the recipe. And if you're needing a Christmas gift, just remember that my cookbook, hang on. My second cookbook, It's Just That Easy, is still for sale. And I am talking about just really thinking about bringing my first cookbook back, but it'll be after the first of the year. But I will put the information you need for getting a hold of my second cookbook. It has a lot of good recipes in it, even for the holidays coming up. So, anyways, grab you a copy of it. I plan on making more too as the years go on. So, anyways, that's my plug for my cookbook. I just want y'all to have a beautiful week, and hopefully we're going to see y'all in a few more days. So God bless everybody. We love y'all. But more than that, God loves you so much. Bye-bye for now. I want to tell y'all, too, that you can freeze this, and it'll stay good up to about 3 months. After you cook it, you need to cook it. And after you cook it, let it cool completely down. Wrap it up good. Stick it in your freezer. And then when you bring it out, thaw it out in your refrigerator. And then just stick it in a 350 oven for about 20 minutes or until it's heated all the way through. And it's just one more thing you've already got done ahead of time. It's just that easy. And just that good.